People ready? Hi, I'm Robyn Marks, and I am very pleased to be here to hold a groundbreaking roundtable full of sports wives. You'll get to hear, talk to them, and find out everything that you've always wanted to know about real wives of real athletes. Ready for a second? Hi, I'm Robyn Marks, and I'm here doing a groundbreaking roundtable with some of the hottest sports wives out there for Giant Magazine. You'll get to take a look inside of the lives of some of the wives and girlfriends and fiancés of some of the hottest guys in the game. So I'm gonna start by going around the table and making an introduction to all of these fly ladies to my left and my right. I'm going to go from left to right. I have with me Samantha Telfair, Evelyn Lozada, Jericho Cotchery, Tarsha Marbury, and last but not least, Marci Mason. And off the top of your head, you might not know who these ladies are, but when I tell you who they're married to, you're gonna know who these ladies are. So I'm gonna get right into it. Hi guys! Hi! Thanks for coming! You guys are brave souls! You're brave. Thanks for coming. All right, so Marci.
Yes.
Marci, you are married to?
Derrick Mason. He plays with the Baltimore Ravens.
And he's played for?
Well, he just retired, but he's back.
I know, he retired for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, now he's back. This is his 13th season. He played with the Tennessee Titans for 8 years. He's been in Baltimore. This is his 5th year there. So altogether, 13 years.
And you guys have been married for?
12 years. 12 years.
I think you've beaten the U.S. odds.
Oh my gosh, we're trying.
Which in the athlete world is like a zillion years of marriage.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Tarsha, you guys have been hanging in there for a long time too. Your husband is?
Stephon Marbury. Starberry.
Starberry. You're Mrs. Starberry. And you guys have been married for?
It'll be 7 years in September.
7 years in September. Well, 7-year itch. You gonna go out and get a 20-year-old guy now?
No, I have no desire.
Okay. And you guys as well, how long have you and Jericho been together?
We've been together for 8 years and married for 5.
Wow, and Jericho Cotchery with the New York Jets. Is that, how many teams has he played on?
Just one.
So
but technically we have moved because the Jets moved. We used to have a training facility in Hempstead, New York, and now the training facility is in Florham Park, New Jersey.
Okay, so you guys are still pretty stable.
Yeah.
And Evelyn. Hi. Evelyn, you have been involved with
Antoine Walker
for 100 years.
100 long years. It's been a long road for anyone who knows.
You guys have been together for a decade.
Yes, a decade, a little over a decade, yeah.
Oh, wow. And then on the end there, and I think this is really cute because you two are cousin-in-laws.
Yes.
And that is really cute. You are married to?
Sebastian Telfair for the LA Clippers. We're going into our 6th season.
And how many teams has Sebastian been on?
This is going to be our 4th team.
4th team in 6 years.
And our first warm city, so I'm excited.
Your first warm city? All right, so we said we were going to have a round table, but we don't have a table, but we're still going to sit around, so we're going to just toss topics back and forth. So it's like, we're going to do it like a little game. I'm in charge. No, we ask the questions, and you know, feel free to answer each other, answer me. We'll go back and forth, and then we have some topics that we can look down and pick up and just kind of move the conversation along. We're gonna have fun with it. So I wanted to start by asking you guys, what would you say is the biggest stereotype or perception of you or your life? What's been the perception of the wife of an athlete versus your reality? So let's go with the perceptions first. What's the perception? The perception is the Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? Or the perception.
No. I don't think so.
Tell me the perception.
I don't think so. I think the perception for me, what I get all the time, and it's it could be different, is that we don't do anything.
Yes.
That we literally don't do anything. Anyone that's a mother, whether your husband plays football, if he's a garbage man, if he works in corporate America, you're busy. You're a mom. So I get that all the time. Someone said to me a couple years ago, a mother came up to me at my children's school and said, "So how did you meet your husband? Hanging out with the baseball team?" I'm like, first of all, you mean football? like, we just hang around, and she's like, so what do you do all day? Shop? I'm like, no. And I think that's the biggest misconception, that we don't do anything.
And sometimes it's hard, not when it's a stranger, even though that's hard, but when it's someone that's supposed to know you. Like someone that has known you from the beginning, that has known that you've always been driven, and then all of a sudden they feel like the life before is just stopped. Yeah. And now you have a new life, and you shop all the time, and you go to Saks, and and that's not it.
But Samantha does shop all the time.
Not all the time.
You love to shop. Shopping at Sam.
Well, I was living
shopping at Sam on Twitter.
I mean, I've lived in Minnesota, Portland. There's nothing else to do but shop. But that's not all I do.
What's the biggest perception of you that you think is a misperception?
That I shop all the time. Or that I get a lot, and not only about myself, but a lot of other wives. I think people think that we don't genuinely love our men. They think they kind of title us gold diggers and stuff like that, and a lot of people don't realize that before they were who they were no one, and we loved them when they were nobodies, when they were just trying to make it. And I think that's the biggest stereotype, that we can't love them for who they are. We have to love them because they're athletes.
And you, what do you think the biggest, over the years, what has been the biggest?
That I think that we don't take care of our children in a sense of, we have nannies and we have people to help us, but I take pride in raising my daughter, so I think that that's, one of the, we shop and we leave our kids with a nanny, and we don't, we're not there 24/7 with them.
So the biggest misperception is you wake up, you met him swinging off of a pole,
right,
and then you wake up and you shop, and that's it. Nothing in between.
Exactly.
So what is the reality though? Like, what's a day? What is a day like in your life? Like,
I mean, we're like normal people. We get up, we make breakfast, we actually clean up home sometimes. I mean, we're like normal people.
We do the same.
We definitely take care of our kids. We take them to school, we pick them up. We're at their school shows. So we're just like any other wife.
And before you even get to what's your day like, what people fail to realize is that you move to a place where you know absolutely no one. So there's no one to call when you need a sitter. If you need to run somewhere, I mean, your kids literally have to be with you in the bathroom. And I know that's the reality for some people, but I mean, in an emergency, that's always the number one question for me, my emergency contact. I don't have one. Right. I mean, my mother, she's 8 hours away in a car, so then first you have to get over that hurdle that you don't know anyone, and then let's start our day.
And because the guys have their friends at work, they're going to work every day, if you don't work outside of the home or whatever, if you're just moving to a new city and you haven't found a job yet, or you don't have your own business yet or whatever, a lot of the younger wives go through this. I see Derrick and I are getting so old in this, but it's hard because they're at work and they're meeting the guys, and the guys are getting together doing this and doing that, and she's just left what do I do? What do I do? So it's hard. Like I said, being somewhere you don't have any friends or know anybody, that's difficult as well, so. Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. And you talked about moving here from North Carolina, was it? How did you get to New York?
How did I get to New York? By way of a boat? No, I'm just
how did you get to New York with Stephon, and where were you before? Tell me your journey.
My journey? Oh, wow. Oh, let's see. Started in North Carolina, and then he got drafted in '96 to Minnesota. So from '98 until '99, I was in Minnesota. He got traded to the New Jersey Nets, and we came here. And we were here from '99 until 2001. And he got traded to Phoenix. So we were in Phoenix from 2001 to 2004 and came back to New York.
Okay. And do you guys consider New York home?
Well, he's from Brooklyn, so yeah.
Okay. So you didn't consider
Salem? No.
You're fine.
Yeah. You're good. I've been here 10 years. This is home.
This is home.
And I've always wanted to live in New York, so.
From college, though, how difficult was the decision to just pack up and move to Minnesota with him? You guys weren't married at that time, were you?
No, I graduated from school in '98, and then from there, I was going to go to med school, and it got derailed a little bit, so.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Okay, all right. So the reality is that, from what I'm hearing, it can be lonely. It can be a lonely existence, a lonely life, because of moving, say, and because, like you said, you're in a city where you can't even figure out an emergency contact. Right. So is there a substantial amount of over-dependence, or just an extreme dependence on your mate, which, to the extent that it's more than anyone else, would you say that you have to depend on?
I wouldn't say so. I think most of us have put our life on hold going from city to city and, you know, chasing our husband or, you know, our men's dreams with them. So we put ourselves on hold to raise family, to be in whatever city they need us to be, to make a home and to make it so that wherever you're at, they feel like it's an easy transition for everyone involved. So I would definitely say it's hard. It's hard to meet people. It's hard to get adjusted, and we do depend on them a lot because they're all we have every time you move to a different city.
And for me, instead of saying dependent, I think I'm more connected to my husband, and it's as a result of football, but I think it's more so because of our faith. Like I always say, I have a football-driven faith, because I do feel like if it wasn't for this life that we live, my relationship with God wouldn't be as strong as it is. But
And why? Why? I'm cutting you off there. Why?
you know, because I think I have a personality that can get out of pocket a little bit, and so to keep it all under wraps, there's only one thing that I can do, and that's pray. Like, you know, with the money and the access to having things and being able to do things, you know what, if I don't put my faith in God, then I'll put it in something else that will fail me, but I won't realize that until it's too late.
Okay. Look at it. Anybody else? Great answer. You want to comment on that? Anybody? Okay, so what would you guys say, moving on from the stereotypes of the athlete wives, which I don't really think we really got into it a lot, because there really are some really big stereotypes out there. And you talked about the gold digger stereotype, and then there's also the stereotype that which is also, I guess, a gold digger, that you know, set out to meet your mate for what he did.
Position yourself where they're going to be. You
yourself.
hang out wherever you think they're going to hang out. Yeah.
But it's cool, but that does happen.
It does happen. That is a reality.
Yeah.
That does happen. And there are cases where, you know, I mean, you hear it. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but for me, that's why I said it's different for everybody. That wasn't the case, you know. For Derrick. I met Derrick when he had absolutely nothing. I was working and had a career and, you know, doing my own thing, and I was like, okay, you know, so, and people like, they don't understand
if I can make you into something.
Yeah, it's crazy how, you know, the tables turn and people look at you. I always say I wasn't on just sitting around just waiting on him to come save me. You know, I was living my life, you know. Yeah, absolutely. So
I think there are stereotypes, and some of them are true. Like, yeah, I like to shop. Like, I'm probably not gonna go to Payless to get shoes. But it's not because we're materialistic or self-centered. It's because everything is according to your tax bracket. Like, if I had a shop at Payless, I would work it, but I don't.
But there's another misconception, you know. Derrick wasn't the first person to take me to Gucci, Louis Vuitton. I did that myself. My father did that for me, you know. So I'm like, Derrick wasn't the first person to give me my diamond. My dad did that for me. So Derrick knew, you know, coming in that I'm the youngest. I have two brothers, and I'm the youngest girl. So, you know, I took Derrick to places that he had never been to. And that's another misconception. He's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, hello? Well, you know, what's up? You know, but,
You know, I have a degree in chemistry, and actually I graduated before my husband, so that he could train for the combine. Okay, well, when you forego the last semester of school, you no longer have a scholarship and you don't have a job, so he was left with bills, and they were looking at me. You know, so I paid the bills, and he kindly asked me, like, when we moved, like, I don't want you to work anymore. I'd worked since I was 15 years old, so it was kind of like a trade-off. You carried me for this semester, and by God's grace, I will carry you for the rest of your life.
You're like, okay, this will work.
But you know,
and that's any partnership, right? That's not sports. It shouldn't be sports specific. It should be.
But why is it bad for us? I mean, there are a lot of women who husbands work and they stay home. They're at home mothers. Why is it, you know, why is it for us not a good thing? I don't understand that.
On TV, and you can't see. The problem is that the paychecks are made public, so anyone can go online, see what they make, and then they're judging you off of what your husband makes, like it's your fault. Instead of just being happy for you, your success and your wealth, and trying to uplift you, everyone kind of wants to break you down and take piece by piece what you do with it, like it has anything to do with them.
And they don't realize that they're robbing your spirit. So then when they come up to you and you're not as kind, well, it's like, okay, do you know what you did to me yesterday? Do you know what you know? And then, but then they still want you to greet them with like this pleasantness. They feel so, I mean, I know football fans, I'm sure NBA fans too, but like, they actually feel like they make you who you are because they buy tickets. And I'm like, what are you buying tickets to go see? Like, you're buying tickets to go see them perform. Like, if it wasn't for them, there'd be no you. Like, there'd be no need for you to purchase tickets.
Yeah. So do you find that is there a division in the wife world? I'm probably, by way of full disclosure, I also am engaged to a professional athlete.
What do you think?
division among the wives in any way, shape, or form? Like we talked about the loneliness. So is it difficult to, and we're all over the place, and there's one of the topics on the floor, friendship among wives. And I know that I have a friend that told me that it's just too hard, and then to even build friendships among your husband's teammates' wives, you don't find it hard?
I don't find it.
No, I've made some great friendships over the years.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Evelyn and I are friends. Mm-hmm. Samantha and I, we don't really know each other well, but we talk and we have a good rapport with each other.
I think this was due to, she said that you find that you may have to move on, and it's just...
You don't always make quality friends.
No.
Okay.
You a lot of times you make friends that you pass time with. You guys are just hang out, and it's nothing more than hanging out. You don't have to entrust your life to them.
Okay.
And they don't have to do the same to you, but you guys enjoy the city together, and you go through trials and tribulations together just because husbands are on the same team, so you guys have an understanding of when they're going city to city, or when they have functions. You have just a partner.
Okay.
Not everyone you meet is going to be your best friend, and that's something that you learn here. And then you usually do find one or two people that you can just relate and bond to, and then those are the people that you end up taking with you through life, not regardless
not from that city.
Exactly.
That's what you and I talked about before. You said that over the years, you can really count maybe 3
Friends.
real, through the season friends.
Absolutely.
But do you think that it makes it difficult to form a relationship, not just with another wife or girlfriend, but with women in general, because a lot of being an athlete's wife is involved, a lot of it is building your family and keeping your family together. So it's like you have extra obligations.
See, it's different. It's I think it's what you make it. Derrick and I are very grounded. Football's not the head of our life. People call and they go, "Where's Derrick?" And I go, "Work." They're like, "That's not work." I'm like, "It pays the bills. That is work."
That's work.
That's work. But people look at us in a certain way that we don't necessarily view ourselves. So like Tarsha said, I've made really good girlfriends. So I don't have I'm careful no matter what, whether my husband plays football or whatever. I want quality friends.
Yeah, but you have to be more careful.
You do have to be more careful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's how people look at you. As
More guarded or less guarded?
I think I'm less guarded.
Really?
Yeah.
You think you're more open?
Because most of my friends' husbands played.
Okay.
And the friends that I had prior to him being in the NBA, we were, they could care less. So, yeah, they're just like, you were our friend before.
So you have maintained the friendships?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you? Have you maintained is it harder or easier?
No, I think it's easier.
Okay.
I have a lot of friends. My business partner I met, her ex-fiance played in the league, and I've met some amazing women. And even though Tarsha, I don't speak to her all the time, but as soon as we see each other, it's like like old days, or So I don't think.
And I met her through a friend.
Did they overlap on teams, or you guys just?
No.
They never overlapped.
We never played on a team
We
together.
never played on a team together. Well,
We didn't play, right?
actually met through another good friend of ours, one of her best friends. That's how Tarsha and I met.
Wow.
So
And then I'm friends with another girl that it's like...
It's just
It's very
intimate though. It's very intimate. It's a small circle. In the NBA, it's even smaller. It's I think 250 NBA players. It's like 1,000.
2,000.
It's 2,000 football players. So it's a much bigger.
53 guys on one team.
53 guys a team, 30 teams. So it's bigger.
It's a lot.
You don't have to be so much guarded when you're meeting new friends from the team, but like when you go out into the community, you have to be guarded. And for a long time, and even still now, I'm a little naive about that, but it's because as soon as you befriend someone, if they just know who you are now and not who you are at your core, then they will sometimes say certain things, or you'll get a random text message from someone like, "Oh, I need football tickets," that you don't, that you really don't know that well. Like, so in that regard, you do have to be guarded.
Everybody needs tickets. Everybody always needs tickets. Everybody.
I don't get that.
You don't get ticket requests? I get ticket requests for your team.
It's not even
So,
an option.
I get ticket requests for teams that
Really?
Oh, what? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we don't get a lot of that.
Yeah. And I was like, let me walk up to my automatic ticket dispenser.
Yeah, right.
Or some.
And they think they're free. It's like, hello.
They are free for the NBA guys.
Are they?
You guys pay?
You get 3 free tickets. That's it.
We get
3.
2.
You know what the NFL
And
gets?
they make
It deducted from your paycheck.
No, you only have to pay
If
taxes
they go on
on it.
the road, they don't get any tickets.
No road tickets for free.
Yeah,
you can get them.
We
You
get
can
road
get 'em.
tickets. You get like 2.
Really?
2.
That's it.
Yeah,
Well,
For home games, they get 4 free tickets. On the road, they get 3.
really?
Yeah.
and I guess because I think the Giants players get 4 tickets, but we only get 2. But that's still for just home games.
And none for
we only
away.
get 2 for
None
home.
for
Yeah.
away.
You know what? You guys are being wrong. No.
We need to talk.
Yeah. But okay, so I wanted to talk about, now that we talk about the perceptions and the stereotypes that people have of you guys, what about the stereotypes of athletes? What are the biggest stereotypes? What's the biggest stereotype out there right now about your husband?
That's a toughie.
I mean, in general, also specific and in general. Tell me, like,
I don't know. I don't really know what would be. I'm
I mean, off the top of my head, I say the biggest stereotype is the dumb jock. That's the biggest. That's like the easy one, though. That's the easy one. That they're all just really stupid.
And I get offended when it comes to football because they had to complete 2 years of college.
Yeah. So, what would you say? What's the biggest? You're thinking.
I'm like a dumb jock. I haven't heard that.
You've never heard, but what I'm saying is but it's still out there. It's still. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a tough, maybe.
And what else? What do you say?
that they're all going to be bankrupt, that they all
Oh yeah, that they're
Yeah.
poor money managers. Oh, that they're all cheaters. That they're all cheaters.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that they come from broken homes, probably. Like there's a lot.
So do you? How many are true?
I mean, I guess some of them do come from broken homes.
That's real talk. Yeah, that happens.
That's not athletes, though.
That's everybody.
It's the same with
Exactly. A lot of doctors, a lot of lawyers, a lot of politicians.
athletes.
But I'm saying that's a stereotype, but there's some truth to that. Just like
Okay.
you were saying about the shopping, there's some truth. The stereotypes happen.
But it's not true because of who you are. It's true because you're a member of society.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, most of them are from, low income areas, and they just happen to work themselves to where they are. So there is some of that, I don't want to say dumb jock or like new money thing, but that does come with it. I know in the NBA, once upon a time, you can come from high school. How smart do you expect that high school guy to be when he's dealing with millions of dollars? I mean, to me, it's just they're not taught it because they didn't come from it, and then all of a sudden they're given it, and it's learned through experience. And I think that's why it is the way it is. A lot of them didn't go to college. A lot of them, skated by school because they were athletes and didn't have to put work. Yeah. So they might not be able to spell very well, but they can write checks. So it's like give or take,
He does have humble beginnings, but he came from a 2-parent home, and he can't spell, and he can, he's not.
You said he can't or can?
He can. He's very, it's
Okay.
like I'm the one that can't spell, and I'm academically gifted. Like I'm like here, So
Yeah.
for me, I get offended about some of those things.
Okay.
But I'm cool with everyone thinking that they were raised poor because I think that it helps you enjoy what you have now so much. For me, it helps. I mean, it just makes it that much better. Like, it can just make me cry when I think about it because now I know the value of it.
Right. So do you think that do you really, do all of you guys know the value of a dollar? Like the value of what you have in dollars and cents wise?
Most of us grew up working before we got in here, so we had to pay our own bills. So I think we know it through that, and I know it through my husband because now we pay every single bill ourselves. So the things that we didn't see that were coming out of our account, we see now, and it's almost like the gift and a curse because before there were bills flying by that he didn't notice, and now everything is accounted for, and I get called to the office every here and there and stuff like that. But I appreciate it, and he appreciates it in the long run because now we know dollar for dollar what comes in, what's going out, and we can plan for the future accordingly. So we don't become a stereotype where we're bankrupt. Ever.
Right. And you know what, we talked about having to deal with your household. Are you the household managers or is it outsourced? Are you household?
House manager.
You manage, and quite frankly, I want you to get into that because it is more difficult to manage a lot of money and different households. We talked about we live in 2 cities, got 2 water bills, 2 gas bills, so there's a lot that comes with that. So what do you do? How do you? And it's you. So you're the one that has to. You're the household manager.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything that flows through my house here in New York, I'm the one in charge of it. And
So are you sitting at the computer with the bill pay and?
well, I wouldn't say sitting at the computer, but I speak to my business manager every day and we go over things, and I pretty much know what's going in and out.
What's going in and out? Okay. I noticed that, for example, Carmelo Anthony is suing a business manager right now who misappropriated like $2 million.
$2 million, yeah.
So how do you trust